What's going on YouTube? Pokepaste here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be centralizing a team building session around Flutter Mane. Now, when we did a couple of Series 1 teams, a couple months ago, we did use Flutter Mane a little bit, but that wasn't really like a team centralized around Flutter Mane. And what I wanted to do today is actually make the team around Flutter Mane. So, we're going to make it a more aggressive option here with the Life Orb set. That's kind of one I want to try, instead of like a boring focus set supportive set, I want to make the Flutter Mane a little bit more aggressive here. And just try out some other fun options. So again, with Flutter Mane, you're a super aggressive special attacker. You have very, very good special defense. Your speed is also very, very good, second only to the Iron Bundle and the not so relevant Dragapult at the moment. Your HP and defense is not so great, but we can compensate that for some stuff on the team like an opposing Arcanine, right? So Arcanine is going to come here and hopefully help us out a little bit with that defensive bulk or lack of defensive bulk. Just with the Intimidate and the Will-O-Wisp support. But ideally what I want to do is, again, if you know how we build teams on this channel, we always like to go for cores with, Dragon, Fairy, Steel, the Fantasy core, and then followed by Fire, Water, Grass. So we have the Fire option already with the Arcanine. And then just for our Dragon and our Steel option, I do like the Kingambit here, just because with the Kingambit, you're able to have something into the Trick Room matchup. You're also have something that's very, very slow that can also utilize within the Trick Room. You put pressure on the NDD stuff along with the Armor Root stuff, so that's also an option. You also do well into the opposing Flutter Mane, right? Because you have a Steel move. So lots of good uses for Kingambit here. And then our Dragon type option is actually not going to be the Roaring Moon. It's actually going to be the Dragonite over here. So this is, again, another kind of squad we're utilizing Dragonite, but it's not going to be an Assault Vest set because the Assault Vest is going to be on the Kingambit. But what I want to try to do with the Dragonite over here is go with the multi-scale setup here and then just put a Lumberry on this thing with Dragon Dance. And, it's actually kind of funny how strong Dragonite is after Dragon Dance. So if they want to sleep you or if they want to burn you to try and stop it, you do have that Lumberry to compensate for you. So there's that. And, again, with Dragonite, you're also able to go for stuff like Ice Spinner where you can just remove the NDD Armor Rouge terrain stuff. So there's the benefit there. It's also great into Great Tusk, also good against other dragons. So there's some benefit there. But again, this is the core with Flutter Mane, Kingambit, and Dragonite. The Arcanine is going to give us our fire option. And then the other two is, of course, relatively standard stuff with the Amoongus and the Iron Bundle, right? So this is the 6. And I can't take full credit of this 6. I think this is also being run by Vio Phoenix, German VGC player. So shoutouts to them. But we're going to do some slightly different sets and Terra options than what they have. So at the very least, we have some variants there. But again, shoutouts to them for coming up with this 6 and doing relatively well. And that's why I kind of decided to do this because it's kind of the same way I want to try and play the Flutter Mane a little bit. Where you just have the aggressive Life Orb option, right? So let's go ahead and reveal the GIFs with the Amoongus, Kingambit, Arcanine, Iron Bundle, and the Dragonite. And now what we're going to do is just round out the EV spreads, the items, and of course the Terra options, right? So let's go ahead and take a look. So with the Flutter Mane, of course, we're going to be going with the standard Dazzling Gleam and the Shadow Ball set. You have one spread move and one single target move, so this way you don't get completely walled by Wide Guard. This last slot over here is going to be Protect. And now you have the option to go for like a single target Moonblast, so it's a stronger fairy type attack. But what I'm going to do here is actually go for Substitute. And this is being used by a couple of players, and it has like really, really good value, especially into like Trick Room Tailwind matchups, where you can basically like take an attack and then just hide behind the Substitute and just deal damage. And then you can also stall those things, with Substitute and Protects. So this way, if there is Trick Room games, you can basically waste 2 turns by just alternating between Sub and Protect, which is something that is a classic VGC thing to do anytime you do run Substitute. If you're going into like those Trick Room games. Zacian used to use this, right, in Sword and Shield to stall out those Trick Room turns to just Behemoth Blade everything. So it was the same kind of concept over here with Flutter Mane. If you want, you can also swap out Dazzling Gleam with Moonblast just so you have a little bit more stronger of an attack. But Dazzling Gleam has its uses. Alright, Kingambit, very standard set here with Iron Head, Kowtow Cleave, and then Sucker Punch. Your 2 dark moves. One is priority, of course, and then the last one is going to be the low kick. Basically, that's also the tech option you would normally want on Dragonite with the Assault Vest set, but because we're going to run it on Kingambit, that frees up a slot for Dragonite to run something else, but it's going to do well into like other Steel types, and against those heavier options, it's also really, really strong. You can one-shot potential other Kingambits like this, so there's the value there, and if Dondozo's Terra Steel to try and avoid the Clear Smog from the Amoongus, then that also favors you, because this does like 50% to that thing. Alright, Dragonite over here, so you already know that we're going to run Ice Spinner. Of course, we're going to run Extreme Speed. I don't know a single Dragonite set that doesn't run Extreme Speed. And then, of course, over here is just going to be Terra Blast. And then over here, Terra Fly, right? So after Dragon Dances, Extreme Speeds, Terra Blast, and even Ice Spinner are just going to do a bucket load of damage, especially, your Flying Step over here with Terra Blast. So it's really, really nice if you can get off a potential Dragon Dance. Arcanine over here, it's just going to be like a very standard support set with Terra Water, just to like avoid getting Hydro Pumped in the face. But ideally, again, it's going to be Flare Blitz, that's False Surrender, Flare, right, there we go. Flare Blitz, Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, and then over here, just Protect. Very standard Arcanine set. Then the Amoongus over here, again with Regenerator, and then the Mental Alert, so this way you don't get taunted, is just going to be Rage Powder, Spore, Clear Smog, and then Pollen Puff, right? For extra healing, that your Arcanine is going to be doing with like Flare Blitz, you're just taking recoil damage. Even the Flutter Mane, after like Life Orb recoil or even like Substitute recoil a little bit, just to be able to heal yourself afterwards, is actually really, really convenient. Then the Iron Bundle over here is going to be the booster energy, so this way, we could win those potential speed type bundles that are just running like Focus Sash. But again, Freeze Dry, Hydro Pump, Icy Wind, and then Protect, right? So you have two strong special attackers with the Flutter Mane and the Iron Bundle. You have a couple physical options with Kingambit and Dragonite, and then two support options with the Arcanine and Amoongus, right? Very standard, very balanced team that we're looking at over here. The Amoongus, again, you can opt for the Terra Dark, just to help you a little bit more into like those Indeedee Armourouge matchups. You can also go for like Terra Water over here, just to help you resist against like the Fire Stuff attack like Arcanine. But I do like Terra Dark here at the moment, just for just being able to resist those Psychic type attacks. We already did Dragonite here. The Flutter Mane, you can also run again with like the Terra Fairy option, just to deal a little bit more damage with your Dazzling Gleam, of course. And just having a fairy type is just really, really good, swapping into like Dondozo order ups. So there's the convenience there. And then the Iron Bundle, you can just go again with Terra Ice just to like have extra freeze dry damage. And in terms of like the EV sets, this is going to be the easiest one where you're just a standard 252 set. Alright, so now we're going to round out the rest of the EVs, so let's take a look at those. Alright, so with the Flutter Mane over here, basically what you can do is just, again, you're going to go 252 Timid. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is, instead of just going straight special attack like this, what I'm going to do is give Flutter Mane a little bit of bulk, and it's hard to like plan for this because certain other Pokemon, like maybe even opposing Kingambit, they actually EV just enough to like try and pick up the KO on the Flutter Mane. But if you invest some HP like this, alright, then you can kind of survive that kind of hit. And now, basically with this 139 investment, again, I'm just trying to opt for Life Orb recoil, and you might say, the Flutter Mane is supposed to deal damage, so why not let it deal the damage that it's supposed to deal and just go like max special attack? And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. I just want to like again rely on a little bit of bulk here with this investment. Just 68, just to get out of that Kingambit range with the Counter Cleave a little bit, right? But again, it just optimizes also for the Life Orb chip, and just having that little bit of HP actually helps quite a bit. All right. The Kingambit, again, that's exactly what we're going to be doing in terms of like trying to pick up the Flutter Mane KO, opposing Flutter Manes. This is all you really need, 220 investment, alright? And then from there, again, I just put a little bit of speed just to outspeed like other Kingambits. But again, max HP is exactly what I want. A little bit of special defense just so that I can, basically just optimize my Assault Vest, because with the Assault Vest, the 1.5 boost, if you have an odd number there, you're going to get a decimal. And in this game, anytime you get a decimal, Pokemon rounds down and never rounds up. So we just want a nice even number just to maximize our Assault Vest value. Dragonite over here, we're going to go with the Adamant set. And specifically also with this speed investment of 204, it's going to be a very, very fast Dragonite. Just if you factor in, the Dragon Dance setup, if you just do 126 times 1.5, you're going to potentially just... speed tie the Roaring Moons, right? So if you want, you can go a little bit more into 212, just something like this. But I'm going to go 204 right here with the Dragonite, just to have the third EV bump right here. So you see how you go from 196 to 198. You skip the 197, of course, so you get plus 2 extra stats there. And then over here, you can just go 68 investment, just to optimize against the Tyranitar Sand Chip, because, again, 1/16 of your health. So if you just do 175 divided by 16, again, that's going to come out to 10.9. 375, which rounds down to just 10 damage per turn for Sand Chip if you go 176. Now it's going to be 11, so you don't want to like take any more damage than you need to from Tyranitar. So just drop it and just optimize the threshold that way. Then you just put 1 point in special defense, and then the rest just goes into defense like this, right? So that's really all you need from your Dragonite. So this is pretty much, again, meant to outspeed Roaring Moon after Dragon Dance. You hit the third bump in the attack, and then you optimize your HP a little bit for the Sand Chip. All right, the Arcanine set, we're going to go with our other Arcanine set here with a careful natured one, where you're just basically max HP, and you have the second investment right here with this special defense. And what this allows you to do is survive a Hydro Pump Roaring Moon. I'm sorry, a Hydro Pump Iron Bundle, okay? And if you don't believe me, let's pull up the damage calc over here with the Arcanine. This is great to us, actually. So after an Intimidate, you can actually have a very favorable roll to live this Headlong Rush, 12.5% chance. But again, I wanted to show you the Iron Bundle calc because that is the one you can live. Alright, so let's just go with level 50 over here. Remove this Life Orb. Alright, they're not running that. And then there it is. You can have the 6.3% chance, which is exactly what you want with this investment. So 156 definitely pays off right here. And then, just 1 point in the attack. And again, like we said, a little bit of defense like this. And then just, again, with 36 investment, what this allows you to do with this speed tier of 120, after a Iron Bundle Icy Wind, you outspeed, a Jolly Roaring Moon. So then, therefore, you can get off a Will-O-Wisp, which can burn it, and then it just doesn't do anything for the rest of the game. So Iron Bundle, Arcanine leads are really strong into if they want to lead a Roaring Moon, you can just burn it after an Icy Wind because you get to go first. Okay, so that's our Arcanine spread. The Amoongus also is a relatively standard Amoongus. We've been using this Amoongus since day one of Scarlet and Violet, pretty much. Well, basically when the format came out for Series 2. I shouldn't really say day one. But it's going to be relaxed natured over here with the defense boost. Then, of course, we're not going to have any speed because we want to be the fastest thing in Trick Room. 196 investment lets you survive the Acrobatics Roaring Moon Terra Flying. And I can show that here. All right, because some of you are newer viewers and you don't know this calc. So let's go with a standard Roaring Moon here. Where is it? Roaring Moon. And again, it's going to be the Jolly Roaring Moon, but Terra Flying, no booster energy, right? Yeah, so the Acrobatics there. But then I'll just put, where's this? Yeah, there it is. 236 investment. All right, and then 196 with the Relaxed Nature. All right, this is what lets you live it. Yep, there it is. So you get to survive Terra Flying, Roaring Moon, Jolly, Acrobatics, right? Amazing. And then the rest just goes into special defense, right? Then the Iron Bundle, of course, we just showed. So basically, this is a very quick, team building where you can just just aim for benchmarks, aim for a couple of damage calcs like what we just showed. And this is pretty much what you get as a result, right? So now what we're going to do is just try it out against one of my viewers here who's very gracious enough to, try and, play us in a little bit of a game, and let's see how we do with this team. Alright, so thanks again to TLN Wings for helping us out here. So basically he's using a standard Indian Armor's Core. Okay, so there's a Trick Room mode with the Iron Hands, and then it's Dondozo Tatsugiri with the Brute Bonnet. So Trick Room mode looks very strong for him, right? He can get the speed control. So ideally, what we can do is just go for the Flutter Mane and the Arcanine set, right? Where we can just snarl his special attackers and set up a free substitute, and then just go from there, right? And if he wants to lead like the Brute Bonnet, Iron Hand stuff, or just Brute Bonnet in general, we do have the Arcanine Intimidate for that, and then we can just burn whatever physical attacker he has. So Arcanine looks really good here as a lead, so that's what we're going to lead with. So here's the Flutter Mane, here's the Arcanine, and there is the Indeedee Armor stuff. Okay, so if he led this, that's totally fine here. So again, this is a free Snarl, this is a free substitute. If he wants to set up Trick Room, okay, that's fine. But then next turn, again, he's just -1, and then he's not really doing anything for himself if he goes into the Trick Room mode, right? Because I'll take Trick Room in exchange for both of these things being -1, because then the Flutter Mane kind of just chills here behind the substitute and is able to deal a bunch of damage, and he has to take a turn to break it. And then the Arcanine just keeps going for Snarl until Trick Room ends, right? So that's the game plan here. So actually, he decides to do a double swap here. Dondozo Tatsugiri comes out. So very, very smart play here because he probably figures the Snarl is coming. Alright, but I still get a free sub either way. Alright, so of course I don't get Tatsugiri and then I hit the Dondozo. So very, very smart swap by Tailends over here to go into Dondozo right away. Basically a free swap in because this Dondozo, I believe, is a leftover set. Yep. So now I have to think a little bit more. I want to protect the Arcanine just in case he's going for like potential wave crashes or even like order ups. And I was very fortunate to get the crit on the Shadow Ball. Look how much Life Orb crit Shadow Ball does. That's actually insane damage. And he did go into the Arcanine with the wave crash over here. So there's that. So I'm able to at least get free damage and not have to suffer from my Arcanine set here. So now I'm just going to go into Dragonite here, just anticipating another wave crash. And then just going to keep dealing Shadow Ball damage. And again, he can't target the Flutter Mane, right? Because first of all, we're a Fairy type, and he has to wave crash into our substitute, which is, again, going to stall him out. And we're faster anyway, by the way. So that's also very beneficial here. So here's another Shadow Ball. The Dondozo does live this time. We get a special defense drop, which is good. And he goes for Rest, which is actually really nice. And the Sleep talk is going to help him out here, which I didn't reveal yet, but he's going to go for it. So a little bit more chip damage into Dondozo here. I do intimidate that Dondozo, so it's -1. Here's the Wave Crash after the Sleep Talk, which is really, really cool. That's basically how that kind of set works. So he gets a free KO on the Arcanine. I do go into the bundle here, and this is where like I'm a little cautious because I'm not sure if the Freeze Dry is able to pick it up. I know it has like not so great special defense, but it is still technically +1. It does have a decent amount of bulk, so I take a bit of a safe risk here. I just go for the Terra Ice here, just to ensure this KO. And now the Flutter Mane can just go for single target Dazzling Gleam, which we do get the KO on. So goodbye Dondozo, goodbye Tatsugiri. And now here is the Armor Rouge, and here is the Indeedee. Okay, so now, again, potentially here, if I just try and target the Armor Rouge here, I should be able to get free trick damage. And again, the Flutter Mane sub is still up. So if he wants to get up Trick Room, again, that means the sub still goes untouched. Alright, so he goes into the grass, he reads my Hydro Pump, good play from him. I could have gone Freeze Dry for a little bit more damage, but, you know, he baited my Hydro Pump at the last second there. I do get free Dazzling Gleam damage. Imagine what Freeze Dry would have done to him, so you can almost consider that a misplay. But he does go for the Expanding Force, big damage, and then the Indeedee goes into Trick Room, right? So that's okay. We do have Dragonite now, and again, at full health, multi-scale, we are able to freely go for like an Ice Spinner just to remove his terrain, just so that he doesn't do like big damage anymore. And of course, I'm just going to protect the Flutter Mane, you know, because I don't want it to die just yet. So there's the Follow Me, of course. Expanding Force does a lot. Like, imagine if I didn't have multi-scale, that would have done so much damage. All right, and the Armor Rouge is almost dead, but here's the Ice Spinner, so the terrain is gone. So a little bit more Trick Room turns left. Now, I do slightly misplay this last turn a little bit because, you know, I do know the Armor Rouge is going to die because it has Life Orb, but I still went for E-Speed anyway into it. What I should have done was E-Speed the Indeedee and just let the Armor Rouge kill himself, but that's okay. Either way, this still works out. The Indeedee targets correctly with the Shadow Ball, but again, the Dragonite is just able to finish the game off with an extreme speed. So yeah, that's it. So basically, you did see the value of the substitute on the Flutter Mane. You're able to take one attack. The Dondozo matchup, we're able to pretty much prevail a little bit. I mean, we did get a little lucky with that initial crit, but you know, I still felt like we played that matchup relatively well because we were able to deal enough chip damage where the Iron Bundle was able to come in and just click Freeze Dry, especially Terra Ice, and just, you know, deal a bunch of damage. Sleep Talk was actually kind of cool. But other than that, I feel like, you know, the end game was in our favor just because we had multi-scale Dragonite. Alright, so let's get you guys out of here and show you that Pokepaste one last time. Alright, so there it is, folks. There's that paste one last time. Again, with the Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass Core. And again, substitute Flutter Mane is actually kind of nice. Kingambit and, you know, just the Dragonite stuff is also relatively useful because if they want to intimidate the Dragonite, you're going to give the Kingambit the Defiant boost, and then, you know, you just go for +1 Sucker Punches or even Iron Heads or Craft Out Cleats. It's actually really, really nice. And then you can kind of just offset that Intimidate with Dragon Dance. So there's the benefit there. Arcanine and Amoongus Iron Bundle, you know what these three can do. But anyway, it's just a relatively solid, consistent team that, you know, just meant to do well in, you know, just multiple modes. And hopefully you guys get some good value out of this Flutter Mane team. And if you like it, and if you want to build a team like this, again, you know, if you need some help with your building, again, we have coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub to the channel in the video description, in the comment section. We have the link for it, or every single video has a join button if you want to build a team for an upcoming regional, or if you want to build a team, you know, for an upcoming online tour, or just for ladder in general. Tier 3 sub to the channel will do that for you. Once you do join, then just message me on Discord, and we'll plan a session together and get you that team that you want. All right. But if you already have a team and you just want me to fix it up a little bit, that's a tier 2 team fixing sub to the channel, where you just send me a Pokepaste and I'm just gonna fix it up a little bit and just change some EV spreads, maybe some Terra options or some Pokemon choices, and then give the team right back to you as soon as possible. Alright, so both of those are within the video description, in the comments, or just click the join button in the channel, whichever one is more convenient for you. But yeah, we'll be back in another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.